We did our first block. Are you ready for more? How much more? So how did you do on your first block for our Nativity Bench Pillow? It's so cute, huh? I love this. I'm having so much fun already. So I decided to use a lighter thread than the Marlin, I think is what it's called in the thread kit. And I really like that it stands out a little bit, but not overwhelming. I love how it turned out. And I used some big, thick, fabric for my little animal here, my little sheep. So cute. I love how it turned out. So the regular ones with the regular fabric and the darker thread look beautiful too. I've been looking at all the pictures in the Kimberbell's group and seeing the ones that have already jumped ahead. It looks so great. So great. This is really fun. So it's time to move on. So I'm thinking this was pretty easy. Of course, cutting the palm trees, that took some time, of course. But other than that, it's a pretty simple one. So I'm hoping to do 2 today. How do you feel? What do you think? I think we can do it, right? So if it doesn't work for you, do 1 and then come back to the video and do the second one. So that's my hope. So don't forget, I want to remind you that if you're using, it does say to use the wash away topping on top of the Mylar. I ended up not doing that. I've never had a problem with stitching through Mylar, so I didn't do that. But I did use it when I used my thick fabric, my minky, for my animals. So, and you know what's funny is our sponsor, Cali Quilt Company, they were out of the wash away topping when they sent me my package, and so they sent me this solvie, and it's little 5x5 pieces, and oh my gosh, that was so easy. Like, it's already cut to exactly the little size that I needed, so that worked out really well. So you can look on the website for that. If you use the minky, it gets everywhere. Oh my gosh. I went to dinner at a friend's and I literally had minky all over me. So anyway, so block 2, we're going to do block 2 today. So if you made packets, grab your packet for block 2. Remember, I said that I'm not pre-cutting my Mylar. I'm just using it and then putting it in the next day's folder. So you can see my little star that I took out of there. But I will tell you the cut sizes in case. All right, so block 2 is on page 11. I'll make some space here. All right, let's go over what we need for today. So our main fabric is the same as yesterday. It is that blue. It's just a silky solid blue. Let me grab it here. Sorry, it's a little bit bigger than the one yesterday. The next 5 blocks, I think, are all this bigger size. So we're going to start with this at 8.5 by 10.5. Make sure to back this with fusible stabilizer. Really, really important. You do not want puckering on your main fabric. All right, so a big piece of fabric, 8.5 by 10.5. And like I said, it's just a plain blue silky solid, no design on it. All right, and that's why I chose to do my thread on the background quilting a different color so that it stood out just a tiny little bit, not too much. So 8.5 by 10.5 for our main fabric today. And then we have for the donkey. So on the donkey, it is just like yesterday. It's that, oops, pulling 2 things here. So it's that tan fabric, and it is 3.5 by 2.5. All right, and I always back my applique pieces. If you choose to use minky, I forgot to mention this yesterday, don't back that. Don't, just leave it as is. It's thick enough. It's going to be fine. But 3.5 by 2.5 for your donkey. And like yesterday, I'm going to change. I'm going to do something a little different. I haven't decided exactly what, but I'm leaning toward this tan minky. So it's very similar to the actual fabric, but it's minky and soft. And so I'm thinking of doing that. Totally optional. You don't have to do that, of course. The fabrics, the ones that I've been seeing that have the regular fabrics, they look beautiful. Absolutely stunning. This is such a stunning project. You really don't need to make any changes to it. But if you want to, it makes it fun to do something a little bit different. All right, so 3.5 by 2.5, whether you decide on the fabric that's in the fabric kit or stepping out and doing like a minky or something a little different for your donkey. All right, and then for the shepherd, We have just a cream, silky solid, no design on it, cream colored. And this one is going to be 3 by 4.5, 3 by 4.5. And I did back mine with fusible stabilizer. So one thing I want to point out, if you're one that doesn't generally stabilize your applique fabrics, it's going to be against this. And that blue could definitely shine through. So having a fusible stabilizer on the back, the fusible backing by Kimberbell, works really well to help block that blue color from coming through. So you don't have blue shepherds, you've got the cream colored shepherds. All right, so I recommend backing that. So 3 by 4.5 for your shepherd. And then that gold mylar, again, I didn't cut mine. I'm just using it and then moving on. So this one, our gold mylar, it's going to be, oh, this one, we've got 3 pieces. I didn't realize that. 3 pieces that are 1.5 by 1.5. So we have 3 of them today. And don't forget, I mentioned that it does say in the directions to put the wash away topping on top of your mylar. I did fine without it yesterday. I've actually never put wash away topping on my mylar, but if you have a finicky needle or a machine that just whatever, the wash away topping may help. All right, so I will tell you to do that, but I'm not going to do it myself. It worked fine without it. So on the wash away topping, same thing. You would want 3 pieces that are 1.5 by 1.5, just like you'll need for that mylar. And like I said, I did not pre-cut mine. All right, and then the last thing is the Flexifoam. Oh, there's I thought I didn't have batting for a second. So for the Flexifoam, this is for the donkey base so that we get a nice little poofy donkey. And we're going to start with that. It's going to be 3.5 by 2.5. All right, Flexifoam 3.5 by 2.5. It's in your embellishment kit. All right, and that's all the regular products. And then since we're going to quilt this, we need our batting. So our batting today for this bigger fabric piece, and the next few will be the same. We want it to be 7 by 9. Our batting 7 by 9 for today. All right, for our batting 7 by 9. All right, and there are, just like yesterday, we are going to have special cut instructions. Actually, this one, we don't use 2 pop rollers like yesterday. We just use 1. So one thing is, if you noticed in yesterday's video, I showed you that in the directions it says, make sure that the palm tree is this much and the bottom of the palm tree here and the left side of the palm tree here. It didn't matter because we quilted in the hoop. But I did show you so that you could see that ours is exactly right, but it doesn't matter because we quilt in the hoop. So all we're doing is we're making sure we've got that 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around the bottom, and then we cut it to the size that is needed. All right, so again, today I'm going to use that lighter colored thread for my quilting because I think that turned out really fun. I really like that. So I will be using that. It is the Marlin that is recommended in the book. By the way, I want to mention, if you're using a 5 by 7 hoop, don't forget that there are special 5 by 7 files on the CD. And for the quilting, because we want our quilting design today to be stars 5 in a 6 by 8. Stars 5 in a 6 by 8 quilting design. So if you're doing a 5 by 7 hoop, that means that you're going to want to do 2 hoopings that are both 4 by 6. 4 by 6 twice will give you the 8 by 6 quilting or 6 by 8 quilting. All right. And I think that's it. Let's see. There are special cut instructions as far as a 1/2 inch above this and a 1/4 inch above this. And again, it's not going to matter. I will show you that ours works out that way, but it's not going to matter because we are quilting in the hoop. This is going to be so pretty. All right, so let's get started on block 2. right, and once we have block 1 and 2 done, let's try and do block 3 today. If you have time, if you don't, do it a little bit later. Your project, your way, whatever works for you. We've all got our own schedules of available time. So grab your packet for block 3. Block 3 is on page 13 of our PDF. And let's go ahead and go over the products that we need for today. This one has clear mylar in here. Is that what it's called? Iridescent mylar. And so that can get stuck in the packet. So just make sure not to lose that. All right, I'm going to move all these over to the side here. All right, the first thing that we need is our main fabric. And mine's got some fluff on it. There we go. All right, so our main fabric, just like on block 2, this one is going to be 8.5 by 10.5. Make sure to back it with fusible stabilizer. 8.5 by 10.5 for our main fabric. All right. And then we need our cream fabric for our shepherds. Let's see. Yeah. Oh, so cute. All right. So for our shepherds, it's the cream. Now notice there is a cream and there's a white. All right. And they're very close. Okay. So make sure to notice that difference. I mentioned it in the prep video. All right. So a cream fabric for your shepherds. And again, I recommend backing this with fusible stabilizer, and just a warning, it will look the same on the front and the back. All right. So you have to make sure to notice. I heard somebody say that they write a little something on the back. You could use pencil or something to be able to notice. The way that I tell is that the side that is the backing, there's a little weave to it. All right, you can see the backing because it really is looks the same. So the way I tell is the backing has a weave to it, whereas the front, it just looks more like fabric. All right, so cream color for the shepherds, this we want to be 5 by 4.5. So that means it's going to go this way, 5 by 4.5 for our shepherd's fabric. All right, and it's that cream one. And then for the lamb, it is that tan again. And this one is going to be 2.5 by 2 for our lamb. So for my lamb, I'm quite sure I'll use a different fabric, like a minky, maybe a thick, something fun. I'm sure I'll do that, but that's totally optional. The fabric in the fabric kit works perfectly as well. So 2.5 by 2 for the lamb. It's a tan silky solid, no design on it. All right, and then the angel. Now this is the white one. All right, I want to point out this is that white fabric. And again, back this with fusible stabilizer so that your angel isn't blue. All right, because that dark blue could definitely come through. So on this angel fabric, it's the white white silky solid, no design on it. And we want this to be 3 by 3. Definitely back it with fusible stabilizer, 3 by 3. And again, you can tell which side from that backing having a little bit of a weave to it. All right, 3 by 3 on the angel. And then we need that gold mylar again. And the gold mylar, we are going to use 1.5 by 1.5. I did not pre-cut mine. You absolutely can. 1.5 by 1.5, just one piece for the gold mylar. And then if you're doing the wash away topping on top of your mylar, don't forget that you'll want a piece that is 1.5 by 1.5. All right, and then seam sealant or another fray preventative product, that just means that there's not going to be a satin stitch on something. I'll tell you when we get there. And then there is iridescent mylar. Sorry, I almost forgot. The iridescent mylar is on top of our angel. Hopefully you can see that. And that is going to be 3 by 3. That's going to be really pretty. That'll make it really stand out. So 3 by 3 for the iridescent mylar for the angel. Very cute. Oh, I'm excited to do that angel today. All right, and then we have our, this Flexifoam for the lamb, so that we get a little poofy lamb. So the lamb Flexifoam is going to be 2 by 1.5. 2 by 1.5 for the Flexifoam. We'll start with that before we do the fabric on the lamb. And then just like block 2, we are going to have our batting be 7 by 9. 7 by 9 for our batting today. And we are going to quilt this with stars 4 in a 6 by 8. That's the same as the first block we did. Stars 4 in a 6 by 8 design. So if you're using a 5 by 7, that means you're going to want to do a 4 by 6 twice to get that 6 by 8 quilting. All right, and both of the designs are centered, and there are special trim instructions. Again, it's not going to matter to us because we are quilting in the hoop. Ooh, tomorrow we get to do the stable. That will be fun. So again, it's got that 1/2 inch above this and 1/2 inch from this, and it's not going to matter. I'll show you when we get there, but it's not going to matter for us. We're just going to look for that 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. That's why I do my pop rollers from the back. Did you see that? Yesterday, I always put my block right side down, and then I use my pop rulers from there so that I can get my 1/4 inch seam allowance. I can visually center my 1/4 inch seam allowance all the way around. It makes it really easy to center it. All right, so that's it. So blocks 2 and 3 today. Let's go ahead and get started on block 3. shirt today. This is another new one. I stitched this one a couple weeks ago. It says Stronger Than the Storm. It's from an Etsy shop. I really like this, and I added bling to it. I have blue bling and clear bling and purple bling. Oh, and mint bling. No, I bought mint bling after I didn't put it on this shirt, but I did buy some for the next one. So fun design. I got this from Etsy. The shirt is super old. It's like forever old. I think it's from like JCPenney's probably 10 years ago, and it's been sitting in a cupboard waiting to be embroidered all this time. Not that long, but anyway, a long time. So so no information on the shirt because they probably don't even make it anymore, but cute design. I will add the information for the design underneath this video. So how are you doing with your goal? We're only one day in, but I want to hear how you're doing with your goal. So like I mentioned, I'm doing something very, very different for me. Always working on something for myself, something to better myself and be at my best self. But this time I'm going through some big stuff. And so I'm trying to make sure not to isolate and to try and get out and be with people, or even not with people, but get out and do things and be active and all of that. So I went and I climbed Table Rock, and that always is so great for me. I really enjoy it. It's such a hard workout. It's a really, really good workout. You get your blood boiling and heart pumping and breathing hard, and you get up. Your goal is to get to the top of the mountain that has this monster huge cross on it, and like, how perfect, right? I needed that yesterday, so that was really good. I did that. I plan on doing it again soon because it's going to get cold and it's going to get rainy and icky and snowy, and then I won't be able to do it at all. So I'm hoping to fit that in as much as possible. I always get so much from that. I really enjoy it. So what are you doing for your goal to be at your best self? Whether it is working out, exercising, eating healthy, doing stuff to be mentally prepared to take on stress and difficulties, being around really good people. That is such a good one. I really enjoy being around good people and understanding when there are people that are not good, and to stay away from that. So there's so many things to work on always. So tell me, what is your goal and how are you doing with it?